Hey everyone, Jeff here from Films at Home, and I got to take an early look at Avatar: The Way of the Water on 4K UHD. Hey everyone, thanks for coming back to the channel today for this 4K digital review. I know I usually cover physical media, but I was very excited to get an early look at the Avatar: Way of the Water 4K UHD digital release, which is now available on all major platforms. So as of filming this video, we still don't have a physical media release date for the 4K Blu-ray and probably 3D release of this movie, but I do expect that to drop sometime soon and be released in the summer of 2023. That I will do another review on, but for now I wanted to take an early look at how this movie looks at home because so many of you saw it in theaters in many different formats, so it's very interesting to see this for the first time on a home theater setup. I will say in this instance I usually have a better experience with Vudu, but in this case I thought Movies Anywhere was actually the better experience. The reason I went with Movies Anywhere honestly was because Vudu was having some issues with streaming this digital copy. I have a pretty solid 1 gig internet connection to my house. Granted, on my OLED downstairs, I don't have that hardwired because I don't typically stream on it. That's for physical media. Upstairs, I am hardwired, so I had a better experience upstairs. You're definitely going to want a really solid connection, but even downstairs here in the basement on 150 to about 200 megabit connection, I did have a few drops in the Vudu stream, and at one point it actually refused to play and asked me to downgrade to HD. Movies Anywhere did not have that issue and played in 4K with just a couple of small latency drops where it definitely dipped down to like an HD quality, but quickly recovered up to 4K. Now this is something I'm obviously looking forward to watching again on the 4K disc because we won't have those quality drops throughout and it'll be much more consistent without having to rely on an internet connection. Now keep in mind I did not see this movie in theaters. My daughter was born literally around the same time the movie came out. There was no way I was getting to theaters to see this, and I know huge opportunity missed, but you know what? This was a bigger opportunity for me and my family, and so I don't really mind that I missed it for this reason. But watching it at home for the first time was interesting because I did not get to see the high frame rate. That wasn't available here. This is a 24 frames per second digital copy. It's not a variable frame rate. It doesn't go up to 48 frames per second. It's yet to be seen how they deal with the disc and how that gets released. But I thought that there were a few moments while watching the movie that definitely could have been helped by 48 frames or a higher frame rate and may have even been shot with that in mind, and having it dip down to the full 24 frames per second, it sort of didn't look perfect, right? It didn't look perfect. I was just ready to be completely blown away, and there were a few odd CGI moments, a few odd motion moments throughout that went into Uncanny Valley, area a little bit and started to look like a video game cutscene. But I will say, I think 90% of the movie looks incredible. And my favorite parts of the movie are definitely where they're going full on CGI. When we've got the Na'vi characters, that to me is a much better experience than when they try to mix in the human characters as well. That's where the Uncanny Valley video game cutscene look and feel starts to come in. The human CGI just isn't as good and it looks really weak in comparison. Now outside of that, the picture is extremely crisp. Didn't have any issues with compression here. I did note, it dropped in latency a few times and I lost the full 4K, but that was just due to the stream and the quality of the connection there. So overall, when it played in 4K, it looked very crisp. I mean, I think the 4K disc will take it to the next level, which is super exciting, but you're not going to have any issues watching this at home on a 4K digital stream. They've come a really, really long way, and I know as a physical media guy, you don't want to hear me say that, but it is the truth. Like, streaming and the 4K digital copies available on like an iTunes, Movies Anywhere, Vudu, whatever it may be, are far better than they were even just a few years ago. They've come a long way. And the colors on this look pretty good. Like, I don't know how it looked in theaters, but talking to people who saw it in theaters and have had a chance to watch it at home, they say that it's a pretty faithful representation. The color grading remains pretty close to what they remember in theaters. It's not going to give you that IMAX full, theatrical experience, but they did say that watching this at home was a really good experience, and that's good because I felt the same way. I felt this looked incredible. I thought it had a ton of great visual moments. The CGI is really amazing. Considering it took, 12, 13 years to make, I'm not surprised. But when you compare it to some of like Marvel's CGI, DC's CGI, or even other movies that just have cheaper CGI budgets, Avatar really smacks them all in the face, except for those like 10% of the scenes where I just got taken out of it. That's why I'm super curious to see if a different high frame rate presentation on Blu-ray could be brought forward, and that could maybe fix some of that. Still to be seen on whether that happens or not. Now, the audio is also presented with Dolby Atmos here, and it's pretty good, but I expect the disc to be a lot better. Now, if you have a pretty standard sound system using a sound bar, God forbid, TV speakers, you're going to have a fine time with the 4K digital stream here. It's not going to give you any issues. It's very solid. But where this kind of breaks down for 4K digital is that it's not true Dolby Atmos. It's not the Dolby Atmos you get on disc. It's the special Dolby Atmos encode that they build in for streaming services, because to handle the lossless audio and the uncompressed video, a streaming service wouldn't be able to do it very well. So they, slightly compress the video down, and they don't have a fully lossless Atmos package. So the Dolby Atmos you do get here, that experience is solid, but it's probably about as good as like a 5.1 surround. Like, I don't really feel like I got a full Atmos experience, and that's where I'm really waiting for the disc to take that up a couple of notches, crank the volume to 11, and really blow me away. So we'll see when the disc comes out if it's a big improvement or not. Hopefully it is. We know sometimes these Dolby Atmos mixes on the disc aren't impressive either, but I'm really holding out hope that, given James Cameron's heavily involved and he wants to make this right, that it will sound better on the disc. That being said, it's still a very good experience at home, and you're really not going to have a ton of issues with the audio. It's got great music, sound effects are moving across your soundscape. It has a really dynamic soundtrack. I just think it could be better, and that's what I'm holding out for with the disc. Now, the kind of cool thing is, usually with physical media, that's where you get special features, but the bonus features here of the digital copy are actually pretty impressive. There's about 3 hours of special features which dive deep into the making of this movie and are very, very interesting if you want to get super technical, go behind the scenes, watch how they did the motion capture, the CGI. There's some really unique things on like the water and the motion and the CGI efforts there. Very cool that they included that even with the digital release at home. So those of us who are, still waiting on the 4K disc, maybe you do want to rent the digital copy, and you'll get some of those special features ahead of time if that's what you're interested in. So overall, Avatar: The Way of the Water here was a very solid at-home viewing experience on the digital stream, and it has me really looking forward to what the 4K disc is going to bring us. I would love to see a high frame rate version of this on disc if it's possible. That would be very cool, because I do think it could help with that small percentage of scenes that clearly were designed with that technology in mind, and that's not translating well to home theaters because we don't have that technology on the digital streaming services. So if the disc can do it, I'd love to see that happen. Other than that, I'm really looking forward to a full lossless Atmos track. I'm looking forward to how the HDR is graded when we get a physical release and we don't have any of that compression. And I'm really looking forward to just how sharp this can really be on a disc, because it looked super sharp with the digital stream. Honestly, it looks better than most of my Blu-rays, most of my 4K Blu-rays. Like, this is and that speaks to the movie and how great the movie is and how well it was shot. But it's a really incredible experience, and it's gonna be a shootout when it comes to this versus the disc when I finally get the disc in, sometime in the summer, because this is one of the best looking streams that I've ever seen. So if you do want to pick up Avatar: The Way of the Water and watch it digitally at home, I'll put a link down in the description where you can get that today. Watch it at home with your family. And if you do want to wait for the physical media release, we don't have any news on that yet. My guess is sometime in summer, and we'll probably hear in the next month or two and get a release date on that, but there's no pre-order or anything. So if you're holding out for that, you'll have to wait. Stay updated with my channel and make sure you subscribe so you have all the latest news there. And of course, follow me on social media so you never miss an update on important things like that. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, stay healthy out there. Here's hoping we get this Avatar: Way of the Water physical media release date soon, and I will talk to you guys soon here on the channel.